Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sabitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatham Vitam Tham Sajivam Sadvetam Sadvadutam Prijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpite Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sujadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Dhurubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasani Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So today's 3 verses have been designated, 24 to 26 inclusive. Chapter 21, Bali Maharaj arrested by the Lord of Canto 8, Srimad Bhagavatam. So 26 is there on the verse, on the board. So we'll chant that now and then we'll go through the other verses later. Please repeat. Ata takshya suto gyatva virat prabhu chikeshitam babhanda varunai pasher bhalim sutye hanikrato. Okay, word for word. Thank you very much. Please repeat. Ata, thereafter. Takshaya sutta, Garuda. Yatva, knowing. Virat, the king of birds. Prabhu Keshitam, the desire of Lord Vishnu. As Vamanadev. Babhanda, arrested. Varunai, belonging to Varuna. Parshai, by the ropes. Bhalim, Bali. Sutye, when Somaras is taken. Hani, on the day. Krato, at the time of sacrifice. Translation, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Thereafter, on the day of Somapana, after the sacrifice was finished, Garuda, the king of birds, understanding the desire of his master, arrested Bali Maharaj with the ropes of Varuna. Please repeat. Thereafter, on the day of Somapana, after the sacrifice was finished, Garuda, the king of the birds, understanding the desire of his master, arrested Bali Maharaj with the ropes of Varuna. So it's a small, short purport. Srila Bhar. Garuda, the constant companion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, knows the confidential part of the Lord's desire. Bali Maharaj's tolerance and devotion were undoubtedly super excellent. Garuda arrested Bali Maharaj to show the entire universe the greatness of the king's tolerance. Mukum karochi vachalam bhangam laite girim yat kripa tamaham bande Shri Guru dinatarinam. So, verse 24. Etam vayam viveshyamo yadi dhaivam prasidati tasmat kalam pratikshadvam yono ritvaya kalpate. Verse 25. Shri Sukha uvacha pratyor nigatan Shrutva Daivam Dhanava Yuyutpaha Rasam Nivesiyu Rajan Vishnu Pashada Thaditaha. So, translation to verse number 24. Unless providence is in our favor, this is Bali Maharaj speaking, we shall not be able to gain victory. Therefore we must wait for that favorable time when our defeating them will be possible. Text number 25. Sukadeva Goswami continued, O king, in accordance with the order of their master, Bali Maharaj, all the chiefs of the demons and the Daityas entered the lower regions of the universe, to which they were driven by the soldiers of Vishnu. Thereafter, on the day of Somapana, after the sacrifice was finished, Garuda, the king of birds, understanding the desire of his master, arrested Bali Maharaj with the ropes of Varuna. Yes, so this is coming to the crunch point now. So one may say, who doesn't know the full picture, one may say, why is Bali Maharaj being arrested? He surrendered everything to Krishna. Well, yes, one reason is given by Srila Prabhupada in today's purport, that the devotee is very tolerant, particularly of circumstances that come that cannot be changed. Daivam, it is here, through providence. He accepts that as the grace of the Lord. But this acceptance of the material circumstances under the control of the Supreme Lord, this is a glorification of the Lord, of the devotee. So Bali Maharaj is showing this tolerance in the circumstances. But why is he being arrested in, and this is glorification as Prabhupada explains. He didn't react badly. He didn't start saying things, I've promised to give you 3 steps of land, why are you treating me? No, he accepted this as the grace of the Lord. And of course, if we look back, we know that Bali Maharaj had performed illicit activities. He had conquered the universe and dispelled, particularly Indra, from the higher planetary systems and everything. He had been behaving badly. So, even though he's surrendering now fully all that he achieved through this misbehavior, if you can call it that, within the context of it being a leela of a devotee and the Supreme Lord, even though he's being arrested and chastised, he's accepting it, and he is not protesting. So the devotee is surrendered to the Supreme Lord, not out of confidence that the Supreme Lord is my well-wisher. So, there is a verse in the Ishopanishad, verse number 6, that explains the mentality of the pure devotee. What is that verse? Sarvabhutani Chatmanam. Wait a minute. We'll double check. Yes. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani evanupashite sarvabhutani chatmanam tatona vijagupshite. So this very, in the purport, Prabhupada explains, this is the mentality of the Uttamadhikari, the liberated soul. A person who sees everything in relationship to the Supreme Lord and who sees all entities as his parts and parcels, and who sees the Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything nor any being. So three things are given here as the indications, or the indications of the consciousness, the pure consciousness of the Uttamadhikari. First one is he sees everything in relationship to the Supreme Lord. So he doesn't see this actually as being the activities of this and that. Of course, in this case, the Supreme Lord is manifest before him, but also we can extend this to the general class of devotees. They see everything in relationship to the Supreme Lord. They see the material energy in relation to the Supreme Lord, the spiritual energy in relationship to the Supreme Lord, of course, and the living entities, Angsa, as part and parcel of Krishna. And then the second one is Sarvabhuteshu Chatmanam Atmani Evanapashati. Sarvabhute Chatmanam is also seeing all Bhuta, all entities, living entities in relationship to the Supreme Lord. And then the Supreme Lord within everything, and everything within the Supreme Lord, because that is Achincha Beda Bed. If the Supreme Lord is within everything, then everything must be within the Supreme Lord. So those three things, all the energy in relationship to the Supreme Lord, all events, all living entities in relationship to the Supreme Lord, and the third one is, yes, he sees the Supreme Lord present everywhere. So with this mentality, he is not in a negative mentality to the circumstances of his existence. I am the surrendered part and parcel of Krishna. As he sees fit, my ever well-wisher will do accordingly. So, this is the mentality that makes Bali Maharaj peaceful. And also you get the impression from this Leela that Bali Maharaj, he was ready to give up the universe. His devotion, we can understand, had come to the point where he was realizing this material sense enjoyment, mind and body, position, authority, this is all illusory. It's all useless. It's a distraction from my bhajan. So now the Supreme Lord, very kindly, he is coming, relieving me of my offense to Indradev. He is purifying me in this way. He is coming before me, giving me full darshan. So where is my misfortune? Let him take this material universe away from me. It is simply a burden. So, very important point to understand in this Leela. Now verse 24 is very interesting exposition of Bali Maharaj, his diplomatic ability. If you remember, he said, unless providence is in our favor, we shall not be able to gain victory. So providence, Prabhupada explains in the previous verse, purport. Bhagavad-Gita mentions 5 causes of defeat or victory. Of these 5, Daivam, providence, is the most powerful. So providence, generally, if you look in the dictionary, it's to mean fortune, future fortune, one's destiny, fate. So the providence of Bali Maharaj is excellent. He's conquering the Supreme Lord by his devotion. But the demons, the Rakshasas, Asura, that are his followers, they have a different view of victory. Their idea of victory is to kill the Supreme Lord. Oh, Bali Maharaj is our master. And now Vishnu, in the form of Vamana Dev, is taking everything away. And that includes our position as well, as his followers. In the Shastra you will find statements that the Rakshasa, one quality of the Rakshasa class, is that they're very faithful to one another. So they're very distressed to see Bali Maharaj in this, apparently to them, a degraded position. He was our king, our glorious king. We were worshipping him. That is the Asuric impetus, to worship man as God. We were under his shelter. He was giving us all opulence, and he is fixed in truthfulness and good behavior. And now this cheetah has come and taken everything away on a false idea. Why? He's asking for 3 steps of land. Any person would think that means 3 steps of land that you can see within your eyes. But now, through his trickery, he's expanded himself over whole of Bhumandala. Then he's put 1 step up to the second step up to the Swargalok. He's even cracked the universe, and the causal ocean is coming through, and that will have a very bad effect on the universe by purifying it of our beautiful activities. So they're very disturbed. Why is this Bali Maharaj being treated in this way? So it is our duty, our dharma, to protect the leader. But Bali Maharaj very intelligently is saying, no, don't do that. Daivam is against us. Providence, circumstances beyond our control. So don't fight. This is useless. You're just casting your lives away. He's not going to, he does say earlier that the Supreme Lord, represented as the time factor, takes everything away. He is the Supreme Lord, cannot be killed. But this is an idea that the Asura, the Rakshasa, cannot accept. He is very attached to this world of birth and death. So he thinks that everything in this world can be killed. How is it possible that there is an entity that cannot be killed? Through my empirical perception, I see everything can be killed. I've been doing it my whole life as an Asura. Confirmed. And now you say we cannot kill. But so Bali Maharaj is dealing with the circumstances expertly. He's not saying the Supreme Lord is against us. He's saying providence is against us. So that is something that they can absorb. If you say to a demon, the Supreme Lord is against you, then he will say, yes, and I am against him too. It will inspire his demoniac mentality. But in this case, Bali Maharaj is placating them. And this is also in the Niti Shastra, it's also in Ramayana, this concept. Prabhupada also in one purport in the Nectar of Instruction, he says, discretion is the better part of valor. Valor, bravery, boldness. But discretion is the better part. If you want to show how brave you are by jumping in a cage with a tiger, this is not very intelligent behavior. As you're being bitten by the tiger, you can shout to the crowd, look how brave I am. What will the crowd say? They will say, no, you're crazy. Your boldness is based on madness, not intelligence. So discretion is the better part of valor. And also this is, in a similar related way, this is in the Ramayana, when Ravana was dying, Sri Ram turned to Lakshman, he said, Lakshman, go and take instruction from Ravana quickly. Lakshman was saying, how is this possible? How can I? He's a Rakshasa. He's has terrible designs on your wife and he's behaved badly and now you want me to take? No, he's a good man. He's a very learned, intelligent man. Of course, Ravana is Vijay. Jai. So he's actually one of the doorkeepers of Vishnu. So in the Leela, that is on one side, but Ram knows that. So he's sending Lakshman, and Lakshman says, please, Maharaj, give me some instruction. Now your final time is here. You've learned many things in life. Sri Ram, my brother, says you're learned. Give me some instruction. So Ravana, he looked at Lakshman and he said, in life, this is Kshatriya instruction, auspicious things should be done immediately. Inauspicious things should be delayed as long as possible. Bibhishan, I saw him, my brother, surrender to Ram before the battle. And Ram did not chastise him, but immediately accepted him as friend. I should have done the same thing. It was inauspicious for me to go and immediately take war with Ram. It was also very inauspicious that when I saw the chance to capture Sita, I took it. I took the form of a Brahmana and took the illusory form of Sita out to Sri Lanka. But so what did I do? An auspicious thing like Bibhishan surrendering, like Bali Maharaj surrendering to the Supreme Lord, I should have done immediately. It occurred to me that this man is powerful, Ram. He may deprive me of everything. Perhaps I should just surrender to him, take shelter of him. He'll allow me to remain as king of Lanka. I'll return Sita. I'll apologize. I'll become... That would have been the auspicious path, but I didn't take that. But the inauspicious thing I did immediately. Inauspicious things should be delayed. I stole Sita Devi. I tried to steal, we know from Agni Puran. He only got the illusory form. But I didn't hesitate. Once I saw my chance to make trouble for Ram, I took it immediately. So I did the reverse. I did an inauspicious thing immediately, and I delayed, and I put aside doing a good thing. So pap should, something that is inauspicious, something that providence has put before you that looks difficult and dangerous and questionable, should be delayed. Don't enter into circumstances that look inauspicious. Rather stand back and then let Super Soul, or as we say, Providence, see what will happen. Live another day. See what happens tomorrow. Of course, there's also another saying, trust no future, no matter how bright. But the thing is, if you're in a dark circumstance, inauspicious circumstance, it's better to wait till things clear up. So this is very important. In the Gita, there's austerity of talk. So better to control the talk, beneficial, truthful, non-agitating. Don't do bad things. But auspicious things you do immediately. If you see a qualified sadhu and he needs help, give him help. If you can go to the Bhagavatam class, come immediately. Don't say, I'll go tomorrow. Now I need to have a nap. No. So the point is very clear, and it's there, put there in the Niti Shastra also by Chanaka. So that is something that we can glean from this section, this verse. Yes. Second verse. I'll just repeat the verse so you get the picture. Unless providence is in our favor, we shall not be able to gain victory. Therefore, we must wait for that favorable time when our defeating them will be possible. So he's intelligently saying, this whole situation is inauspicious. You're fighting a more powerful enemy. Wait. Sit down. Be peaceful. So this is intelligent. So, verse 25, Sukadeva Goswami continued, O king, in accordance with the order of their master Bali Maharaj, all the chiefs of the demons and the Daityas entered the lower regions of the universe, to which they were driven by the soldiers of Vishnu. So they're obedient to their master, like I say, the Rakshasa Asura. What is the difference between Asura and Rakshasa? Asura means Asura, not very pleasure. Devotee is Sura, very pleasure. So the Asura, he tries to enjoy the material energy, but he doesn't get much pleasure. There is pleasure in the material world, just like there are drops of water in the desert, but they're not satisfactory. So, let me think. So the order of their master, they're being faithful, but they are not understanding the true situation, but their master is still favorable to them. So they were driven. Yes, what's the difference between Asura and Rakshasa? That's the beginning of 7th canto. The Asura is a general term for the materialist that wants to enjoy the Maya Shakti. But within that there are many subdivisions. Asura is generally impelled by Rajaguna. Rajaguna Samudbhava. Mahashano Mahapapma Vidhe Enam Iharvarinam. But then it's transformed into wrath. So, mode of passion gives desire, anger, but then it will be transformed into a destructive form of wrath and greediness. So, the Rakshasa is the demon who wants power. The Asura, the Rajasic person, wants to just enjoy the material energy. If there's God or not, it doesn't matter. I'm in this world, I have this body, let me just enjoy this world. But the Rakshasa, he's tried to enjoy this world, and because of the pap, illicit activity, he has entered the mode of ignorance. And then his enjoyment is not just sensuality, money, power, position, but the power aspect has become very powerful. So the Rakshasa, he wants to dominate. His pleasure is being dominating. Just like the Devas, situated in the mode of goodness, their mood is affection and joy and generosity. The Asura in the mode of passion is sensuality. But the Rakshasa is, I'm the big man, I'm the controller, I'm the boss. And so, with this mentality, mogasya moho karmano, in the Gita, Krishna says, those that are envious and mischievous in this tamasic way, I continually throw into the most demoniac forms of life. But then Daivam, what's that verse? Mahatmanastamam patha Daivam prakritim ashrita Bhajanti ananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. But those that accept the Supreme Lord, knowing Him to be the source of all bhuta, all energy, they're not bewildered by this. They're protected by their meditation, by their jhana, by their samadhi on the Supreme Lord. So they're not deflected from the path of devotional service into pap and punya. So very important point this. Now we see that the world, the Rakshasa mentality is becoming very prominent throughout the world. And we see that the general mass of people, all this talk about advancement, the general mass of people are being taxed to death, fed polluted food, given polluted television programs and movies and media. Everything is being polluted deliberately upon the people. So the Rakshasa, he enjoys degrading people. You have to understand this. So we should avoid this. We should, as we said at the beginning of the class, how can you degrade somebody who is an angsa of your Supreme Lord? Vaivangsa jiva loke. In fact, Vaishnavism only starts when Madhyamadikari is the starting point of Vaishnavism. Only when you've come to this position, when you're anathas and you're starting to see the reality of Krishna's presence and how everything is an expansion of the energies of Krishna. So when this mentality is there, how you can be bitter and nasty to people. Therefore, for the Madhyamadikari it is advised 4 kinds of behavior. He should worship the Supreme Lord. He should make friends with the devotees, because the devotees are a large family. Third thing is, the Balisha, those that are without knowledge in this material world, he should give them knowledge. He should, as Yaridaka, whoever you see, wherever you go, whoever you meet, tell them of the science of Krishna consciousness. Amara agaya guru tara aidash. And in this way become a guru and liberate everyone in the land. This is what Lord Chaitanya said to the Kurma Brahman. Kurma Brahman, he met in South India, and he was very inspired. He said, should I follow you now? He said, no. Go back to your village, read Srimad Bhagavatam, teach Srimad Bhagavatam, get people to chant, and in this way become a guru. So this is Lord Chaitanya's movement. Everyone is a guru. But you must know the Siddhanta, and you must know the science of chanting, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. And this knowledge should be pervaded. That's number 3. And then number 4, the Rakshasa or determinedly negative person, then you should practice upeksha. That means neglect, a Sanskrit word. It means you're neutral. You don't make friends with him, or you don't make enmity with him. So this is very important. Don't waste your time speaking to people who are negative, who are determinedly negative. But if somebody is intelligent and amenable to understanding spiritual life, give them spiritual knowledge. Why not? That's your duty as a devotee, especially the followers of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya. So that is the responsibility of the devotee, to elevate people from the lower modes to mode of goodness, so that from that position they can understand transcendence. Now, all the chiefs of the demons, it's interesting, you should always be very careful with every word. Bali Maharaj, on the order, all the chiefs of the demons and the Daityas, so the chiefs, the leaders, entered the lower regions of the universe, to which they were driven by the soldiers of Vishnu. So they left the battlefield and we'll go to the lower planetary systems. So in the Bhagavatam, 5th canto, there's a short exposition of the layout of the universe. If you want to read more, you can read Golokavarnanam by Sri Vaidiraj Tirtha. He's one of the Madhva sannyasis, he's a mystic yogi. He gave a very good exposition of the layout of the universe, which is an expansion of the Bhagavatam. And then throughout different Puranas there is a exposition of the different sections of the universe. The universe can be divided into 3 sections: upper, middle, lower planetary. Upper planetary system is the Punya section, the devotee section. Mode of goodness is prominent. We're in the middle planetary system, Bhumandala. Mode of passion is very prominent here, and passion is increasing. And the lower planetary system is the place of ignorance. These 3 divisions can be further subdivided into the 14 worlds, the 14 lokas. So we're on Bhumandala. Above us is the place of the demons, of ghosts, disembodied beings. In Tamagun, the ghostly beings, the pretas, pichashas, yakshas, they are at a realm, figuratively speaking, that is higher than Bhumandala section. Because in the Bhagavatam, in that 5th canto, teaching of Lord Rishabhadev's 2 sons, Lord Rishabhadev explains they're considered higher beings, in a higher position, because they have no gross body. As you go up from Bhumandala, the body of the living entity becomes more and more subtle. We're in the most gross section of the universe, Bhuloka. Bhu means earth. Here, the gross element earth, solids, are very prominent. So you go up, and then above that is Swargaloka. That is the heavenly region. Also, in that region, subtle planets, subtle enjoyments, subtle regions. So we're going up now, and mode of passion is still there, but it's fading out, and it's going into goodness. And then you have Mahalok, Jnanalok, Tapalok, Satyalok. So up to Swargalok, in the periodic devastations, everything is wiped out. But above that, Mahalok, Janalok, Tapalok, you're getting into the sages, the places where the sages realm, the realm of the sages, where yogis and masters of their senses go, and they spend their time in meditation on the absolute truth, and they perform tapasyas and bhajan of the Supreme Lord, and they try to elevate themselves. And as it goes up, Mahalok, Janalok, Tapalok. So Tapalok is just below Satyalok. And there's description in the Shastra that Satyalok, it is like 95% mode of goodness, and Vaikuntha atmosphere, because our Lord Brahma is a pure devotee, and 5% mode of goodness. So there's a mixture. But as you go down, mode of passion increases. So then as you go below Bhumandala, you get into the lower regions of the universe, where ignorance, tamogun, where the impious, where the asura, the rakshasas have their bases. And so that's Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Tala, Tala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. And then also there is Narak is there, and Pritriloka. Pritriloka is associated with Anantadev, and so it's a very wonderful place. But the lower planetary systems mean that Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Tala, Tala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. 7 lower planetary systems. And a few years back I did a little research onto this in the different Shastras. And as you go down, the forms become more and more distorted from the human form. The human form is the base form. Govindam Adi Purisham. So the form of Krishna, two-handed with the flute, in Golok Vrindavan is the original form from which all forms progress. So through tamasic behavior, one loses the human form and goes into lower animal species. And if you want to understand the nature of these lower regions, you can look at the animal kingdom. It's all like, for example, they say the lion is the king of the jungle, right? So that's it. The Rakshasas are the kings of the lower planetary systems. You can think of it like that. And anyone that challenges their control, anyone that tries to take over the pride, they will get a lot of trouble from the installed leading lion and his brothers. So down there it is all about position and power and energy and the big man, and it gets more and more until you get down into species of life that are basically non-human, the Nagas and so on. And they also have, it's explained in the Shastra there, that these Rakshasas, and going down lower, because as they go lower and their body becomes more subtle, they can develop mystic powers of projecting, like Ravana did. He projected the form of a Brahmana before Sita Devi. So they can appear, and so now, and you can understand them in this way also, just like India has a government, right? There's just been an election. So you can think that they're the managers of India. They're like the devatas, the demigods, right? You have the different transport department, defense department, and health department, and they have a big demigod in charge. And then above them you have the big demigod, Narendra Modi, and so on and so forth. But also in every country, you also have a different kind of government that uses secret oaths and secret societies. We can say the mafia, for example. And they have their management system. They have their rules and regulations. And so they are doing, what are the mafia doing in each country? They're doing prostitution, illicit sex. Gambling, they run gambling clubs. Human trafficking, disgusting. They do all sorts of illicit activities. So, but they also are trying to become more influential to the devatas, the mafia. The mafia try to bribe the government to expand their territory, you can say. So similarly, the Rakshasa, the Asuras, they want to take over Bhumandala. They want to come up here from the lower planetary systems and become the dominant force. Whereas actually, the government, which should have the best interests of the praja, the people at heart, they should be in charge. But if you get gang leaders, then you're not going to get an auspicious country. You're going to get violence on the streets, and this is what's actually happening right now in the daytime. Not in India, thank God. You can still walk around at night. But now, because of this flood of so-called multiculturalism and bad people into the West, you cannot walk the streets at night. Once the sun goes down, don't go for a walk, because some crazy Rakshasa will come. So this is the demoniac. This is an illustration that at the present, the government is weak. Because when a government is weak, then the criminal activities flourish. So similarly, when the devatas put aside the rod of chastisement, which Arjuna wanted to do at the beginning of the Gita, this is a terrible renunciation of dharma, of duty. Thieves, rogues, rapists, rascals should be chastised severely in accordance with their crime. And this acts as a deterrent. But when people rape and pillage and shoot, and then they come out and they get 2-3 years in jail, watching the television and all their teeth fixed, then this is not exactly a discouragement to illicit activity, is it not? But this situation arises when the government are criminals, because they identify with the criminal, not the victim of the criminal. So they think, oh, well, that person's dead now. Why should we make this guy suffer the death penalty? He's already killed somebody. We can't bring them back to life. Oh, let him have 5 years in jail. Maybe we can correct him through watching the television every day. And so this is the weakness. This story is about King Vena. You can look into this in the Bhagavatam. King Vena was a cruel person, but he was subduing the illicit activities. So this is a very important point, that the rod of chastisement, Krishna explains in the Gita, is him. And this whole story, like we started the class, the rod of chastisement is bearing down upon Bali Maharaj, because he had misbehaved. But because he was surrendered devotee, then ultimately he was glorified. And he was sent, the Somapanna, after the sacrifice, because when Bali Maharaj took his second step up to the universe, upper regions, the devatas came down and there was a sacrifice and a glorification. And so the devatas, they were worshipping the Supreme Lord. So when Bali Maharaj was actually being purified, he was rewarded for his surrender. He was sent to Sutala. Sutala is third down, Atala Vitala. Sutala is a very interesting place. That is the residence of Mayadhanava. That he is very interesting. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. I could tell you many stories about Mayadhanava. But one interesting story is, he is a brilliant architect and master of technology. In the Mahabharata, Mayadhanava offered technology to Arjuna, but Krishna said, don't accept it. If you accept technology, this will decrease your reliance on the Supreme Lord. Our technology is very simple. Grain comes from rain, rain comes from sacrifice, sacrifice comes from prescribed duties as in the Vedas. So if you want a good situation on Bhumandala, you perform sacrifice. Now we're having storms and earthquakes and volcanoes all over the world, because if you mess with the government, you can expect to be harassed. So now people think by making technology we'll do everything wonderful. Now we have so-called smartphones. But the world went on quite nicely without computers and smartphones. These things are unnecessary in human society. Now we have, we're being irradiated by microwaves day and night. And we're taking these smartphones and putting them up against our brain, and people are dying of tumors. And has this technological revolution in the last 50 years, has it improved the world situation? Has it brought peace? Has it brought spirituality to this earth? No. People are spending their time like this instead of reading the Bhagavatam like this. So the thing is, that's our technology, to perform sacrifice. And as Krishna says in the Gita, from this sacrifice all beneficial things will come. So Mayadhanava, just one final story, very interesting. He constructed the house of Yudhisthira Maharaj in Indraprastha. So it was so beautiful and so expertly done. When you walked into a room, if you didn't know, you wouldn't know if this was water or a floor. You might think, oh, that's a bathing place, but it's actually a solid place. Oh, this is a floor, but it's actually a container of water, a swimming pool or something like that, a bathing place. So Duryodhana was taking a tour of that palace, and he was new to the place, he didn't know. So he fell into one of these sections where it looked like a floor, but it was actually a big bathing tank. And Draupadi was on an upper, in the ladies section, on an upper balcony, and as women do, particularly when they see men, women take delight in seeing men lose their dignity. Of course men also, but women there. So she enjoyed this funny sight of this big puffed up Duryodhana splashing around in the water with his big false ego. Now a good person will fall in the water and think, what a joke, and have a swim and laugh it off. But those with big false ego, they can't take indignity. People won't respect me, like they sometimes talk about. You've got to have respect for me. They demand respect, they don't command respect. So Duryodhana was very upset, and Draupadi, you can attend with her ladies in waiting and friends, she burst out into tears of laughter. And it was because of that, Duryodhana, vicious Rakshasa, expansion of Kali, determined that I will get my revenge. And that's why the vicious assembly, Draupadi, Duryodhana, had Draupadi dragged there and made undignified in the association of all the leading personalities. And it is for that offense, Acharyas have spoken on this point, and they have said, for that offense to Draupadi, such a wonderful Vaishnavi, a wonderful devotee of the Lord. That was the death of Duryodhana. That's what destroyed him. So it's very interesting. I encourage you all, we have no more time to talk, but I encourage you all to read 16th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, divine and demoniac nature. This is the real division in the material world. There is the divine, the Devata. He accepts the supremacy of the Supreme Lord and he enters into joyous relationship. The demoniac, they don't accept any Supreme Lord. I am God. Man is God. My senses are God. And I've got to enjoy this material energy. So that's been preached, is it not, nowadays? Openly, television, more and more. Just do it, right? Whatever you want, whatever your senses demand, satisfy them. And then when you die, it's all over. So this demoniac mentality is taking people deeper and deeper into narak. So, if we understand what is the root, when Krishna starts explaining what is the divine and demoniac mentality, the first point he says is pravittim cha nivrittim cha. The asura, the demoniac, do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. And he advises Arjuna, you should understand what is to be done and what is not to be done through the Shastra. So, these are some points on the Bhagavatam section here. It's very interesting to see the interaction of the demons and the devotees, their different mentalities and their different attitudes. But Bali Maharaj, he is in bliss. Let us remember that. He is arrested by the Lord, but he thinks, oh, I'm getting attention from my beloved Lord. And he was sent to Sutala, and maybe later class I can describe Sutala and Vitala. And it is a very wonderful place, actually. It is explained that in these first lower planetary systems, the sensuality enjoyed by the asura is higher than the sensuality in Swargalok. Because the devatas, they are engaged in sensuality, but their main section of consciousness, their consciousness is fixed upon the Supreme. So when the consciousness is fixed on the Supreme, one cannot enter into the depth of sensuality, which the Asura and the Rakshasa want to do. And therefore the Supreme Lord facilitates them. So remember that Bali Maharaj accepts the Supreme Lord as his Lord and Master in a great feeling of joy. And now he is residing in Atala Vitala Sutala, and as I said earlier, at the next periodic devastation, when the planetary systems up to Swargaloka, including Swargaloka, are dissolved, at the next periodic subcreation, he will be the Indraloka. So he had conquered the universe through his own efforts and became Indra. But then Krishna said, no, if you want to become Indra, don't become Indra that way. Become Indra by becoming my devotee. So the Supreme Lord, Akama, Savakama, Mukshakama, Udaride, whatever you want, the Supreme Lord will provide. Yeyatam mam prapadyante. Be assured of that. But Gaunitai, now in Kali Yuga, have said, don't desire anything other than Krishna Prem. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhukavanai. So we have free will, desire. So we should train ourselves to desire Krishna consciousness, Lolam. That is the catalyst. Krishna will give anything to you. He's your father. He's your origin. So if you want Krishna consciousness, he will give that. Be assured. But he'll make you wait. Because when he gives you Krishna consciousness, he's giving you himself. If he's giving you residence in a heavenly planet, he's not giving himself in the full sense. But if he gives devotion, then if the devotee gives to the Lord, he purchases the Lord. He conquers the Lord. So the Lord is not conquered by any weapons or any contrivance. He's conquered by what? Prem, yes. So we are the love movement. We're the Prem movement. We're the divine party. We should make a political party on the basis of 16th chapter. The divine Sankirtan party. And enter into politics. Now it's an artificial thing. Communist, capitalist, liberal, conservative, left wing. No. In the beginning of Chaitanya Bhagavat, you'll find a statement by that the only division, the only caste in Kali Yuga is divine and demoniac. So thank you all very much. Use your free will to become increasingly divine and become associates of the Supreme Lord. Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.